Hey Chai, so here we are again. I sent you an email earlier, just responding to everything that you had sent over, and I wanted to go through it with you quickly. The first thing I'm going to show you is how to use the map to help you find comparable homes that have sold. So the first home we're going to look at is 25 Bannington Drive. So I'm going to put in 25, which is the email I had sent you earlier. And at least that way we can analyze it together in response to some of your prior emails. So here's the property here. Obviously it's a type of home where there's an upper level and a lower level, and they split off of here. It's a detached home in a community called Kettering. So I like the price at $149, but the question is, how is Kettering as a community selling? So I'm going to go to search, general. Now let's assume that Kettering had no sales in the last year. We still want to look at sold homes within the last 180 days or the last 365 days. Fee simple that are detached. And we're going to search by map. So I'm going to go back here for a second. There's a little thing here that says map search. And that's going to pop up a window. It's basically a map. So up here under street address, we're going to put in 25 Bannington Drive, Upper Marlboro, Maryland, and locate. And so here's your home. Now if you can see, this is a relatively dense area with streets, so what I recommend here is just do a half of a mile search. I mean, you've got enough streets within this perimeter here to compare homes to. So now map area selected is here. Now the one thing to remember is that when you run a search with a map area that's selected, you can't click back, because if you click back, it saves everything else. It clears the entire form. So your map area is gone, all your form details are gone. So if we go forward again, you have to click the button down here that says revise. So revise will save all of your form details, and it will allow you to keep the map area search that you had from before without having to go back and redo it. So there are 17 homes here. We're going to organize by list price, and out of this list, part of one of my comments was, let's find the most similar home to the one that we're selling now. So this one's a fully renovated home that's over $325, 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, but fully renovated. So that's okay, but it looks a little more appealing than what we have. What's interesting here is we have 15 Bannington Drive, which is a decent home, but if you look at the two pictures, which I'm going to put in the screen, we've got picture 1 here, which is 25 Bannington, and we have 15 Bannington. 15 a much more appealing home from the street. So this is a decent comp, but not as good as we can get. Although if there's nothing else, this is fine to use. Here's one more, Harrington Court, 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath, that sold for $229, and it shows well and it's in decent shape. So this could be a good comp. The one I wanted to show you though is Joyston, which is another one as well, sold back in November of last year. 5 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, so it's a little larger. But the best comp for this home was this Joyston Court one, just so we have a reference point. It sold in January of this year, so about 7 months ago. It's a 3 bedroom, 3 bath, but if you look at the home from the front, here and here, they're almost identical homes. And this one is a little more appealing. They've done some nice shutter work. The brick seems better, the yard is nicer. But for all intents and purposes, they were asking $250,000. And it sold for $217 minus almost $7,000. So it really sold for $210,000. Now, without doing anything else, I can show you that this up here at $150 versus this over here at $217, there's only $60,000 spread. And we're going to assume that this home, and any home in the future, needs at least $50,000 in work at a bare minimum. So even if you were to go in here and do the minimum amount of work, we're at $200,000. And that $10,000 spread, not including the cost to sell, just isn't enough. So we can eliminate Bannington Drive. Now if I go back and let's assume Joyston wasn't here, I think there are enough homes in this community that would give us, here's another one, it's over $247. Now we're talking decent spreads. Here's a more appealing home. It sold for $210 with an $8,400 credit back in January, which is the same time frame. We can go through this whole list, but at least it gives you some perspective. Here's one called 100905 Exeter Court. Now this one sold the most recently. It sold 10 days ago for $190 minus $6,000. 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, which is the same as our home. And it's in decent shape. They've got upgraded kitchens, built-in microwaves. It's okay, but it's not great, but it's okay. And it sold for $190. So comparing these two, our spread is somewhere between $185,000 and $210,000, which is not a very good margin at all. It's not worth taking the risk. So I would just eliminate Bannington Drive altogether. I'm going to close this. Now just going through some other notes as we search. You know, like today I just searched PG County for today. So PG County active, detached, with 0 days in the market. We can go through the list pretty well. There's 12 homes that have been listed. If we organize by list price, these two are for rental. Oh, excuse me, let me go back and do that one more time. We also want to do for sale, yes. So we eliminate the rentals. It's one last step for us to do. So Doris Drive is a one-level home with no basement. I don't really like this that much because it's one level. There's not much you can do with it. It's a very small home. So we're going to drop this one off the list. The next one is the one you sent over, which is Cottage Terrace, which is a decent home in a nice area. But because it's a small home and in my opinion doesn't have much curb appeal, I'd probably eliminate it from the list. On top of that, it says remodeled bathroom. It's gotten some upgrades to the home. There's no pictures. You know, it's a decent home, but the comp that you had sent over is just a much nicer home than this, so it's hard to compare the two between this one at $140,000 and the comp you sent at $299,000. So I'm going to eliminate this from the list. This next one's okay. Rambling Hills. It's a 5-bedroom, 2-bath. And so here it's Pritchard Lane. I'm going to go to my Internet Explorer version of the property and run another search. Let me go back into Matrix. And search. So the easiest part for me here is map search. And I'm going to type in the lane, which is 49. Whoops. Pritchard Lane, Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Locate. So this one's okay. Just to give you some perspective on my mindset right now. 495, these big purple highways, these are our main thoroughfares. Because this home is so close to this highway right here, I'm going to eliminate it from our list immediately. But let's assume that it wasn't. This is a really dense community over here. So we could search this entire community, or I could just put in Rambling Hills. Oops, and do anything else. I gotta go back. Revise. Sold in the last 365 days or sooner. And there's been 18 sales. So I'm going to sort by price. Now the highest price that sold here is $279. It's a relatively similar home. Sold for $279 back in October of last year. And I'm going to go back and do one more thing that I'm going to ask you to do if you can. Is first search by 180 days. And if there's nothing there, you can go back a little further. But that'll give us a more accurate picture of the market. So now Woodlawn Boulevard is the most recent sale. And this is a much bigger lot and a much more appealing home than this, I think. Although it is one level, so it's not the best representation. But now this is the most expensive home that sold. And they were asking $226 and it sold for $205. So this is the most expensive home. We have to assume ours is going to be less than this. So even at $145,000, if it needs $50,000, we're at $195,000. And the spread between the $205 and the $195 just isn't high enough. So that'll allow me to eliminate Pritchard Lane. Here's another one, sold for $220. It's not enough margin. We never want to be the most expensive home after the renovation. So we're going to go back to the original search. Brentwood, Maryland, a 5-bedroom, 4-bath in Lenox. And it's going to go down here to the remarks. It says unbeatable price, great design, and renovation. New painted, new granite countertops. They've already done the work to this home. so I'm going to cross this one off the list. Here's the one in Capitol Heights, Maryland, a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. This home has been completely renovated and it features a new kitchen, so we don't want it. Next. Hyattsville. Interesting looking home, not your typical look, but it's active at $210,000. Looks deceiving, but check out this beautifully updated and maintained 5-bedroom, 2-bath home. There's no value there because the home already looks good. We want homes that don't show well. Rockledge Drive in Bowie, Maryland, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, has been completely renovated. So it's not for us. Here's one in Hyattsville for $235,000. Great home that exudes charm. Updated, if you look here, updated kitchen, honeywood oak flooring, open floor plan with great space. So that one's already been updated. Here's one in Sourwood Lane. It's a newer home and it's a bank-owned property. So if we look in Woodside Estates, the only way this home is worth a lot is if it's underpriced dramatically, because on this one we're going to make our money on the purchase and not on the sale because it doesn't need much. It's so new. And I can tell, if you go back here, year built 2001, so it's only a 10-year-old home. So I'm going to look at Woodside Estates, sold properties in the last 180 days. And we want the Woodside Estates in Fort Washington, which is this one here. So I'm going to go back to this page. Obviously, it's the same city. We don't want properties in other cities. Stevens City's somewhere else, and so is McLean. They're both in Virginia. So this is the only comparable sale in the same community, in Woodside Estates, and it sold for $235,000 with about $6,000 back to the buyer from the seller. So this seller made $229,000, and they're asking $238,000 here. So it's off the list. This next one is in Brandywine, Maryland. I know this one. The reason I know it is because it's a brand new community. So the builder is building homes in this community to be sold brand new. So this one we obviously can't do anything with. So for today in PG County, there's nothing to find and there's nothing with decent margins. So I can cross it off the list. Anyway, just some thoughts about my searches. And let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.